Rotary meeting, Mayor Keating mentioned visiting Roland. He says the councilman is making significant strides towards improvement. Roland's family also released an update on the councilman's Facebook page. The family says he, quote, often speaks of his determination to return home and serve the Gulfport community.
He is showing great signs of improvement, for which we are very grateful, and God is good. With regard to how we govern between now and whenever he is able to come back, we've learned the art of compromise in some areas, and we will continue to work together to reach the kind of decisions we need to keep the city moving forward.
The Roland family later expressed their gratitude for the city's support and prayers. The pastor